Hello there, my name is Jude Sanat and you're watching South Central on ET Now. In case you didn't know, this is India's first and only news bulletin where we break down the headlines and dive deep into the news, meet the people making news and come on top of big discussion points on everything South India. On that note, let's take a look at everything making headlines at this hour. The Tamil Nadu government is all set to acquire the Indian Railways stake in Chennai's mass rapid transit system. India's first ever rail to metro acquisition could be valued at 600 to 700 crore rupees. Day one of Telangana's investment summit sees investments totaling to 1.8 lakh crore rupees. Trump Media and Technology Group announces a lakh crore rupees in investments. Vietnam-based Vin Group sets aside $3 billion. Voting draws to a close in the first phase of Kerala's local body elections. 1.32 crore voters across 7 districts cast their vote today. In Puducherry, actor-turned-politician Vijay holds his first political rally since 41 individuals were killed in a stampede at one of his public meetings in the town of Crore late September. And JioHotstar doubles down on its South Indian content acquisition plan. The streaming platform sets aside 4,000 crore rupees to invest in regional titles on its South Indian slate over the next 5 years. First in the bulletin today, in a first-of-its-kind transaction across transit and public transport circles, the Tamil Nadu government is all set to acquire the Indian Railways stake in Chennai's Mass Rapid Transit System or MRTS. According to reports, the acquisition will see the Tamil Nadu government acquire the railway's 33% stake in the system, which was built in 1995 and was hailed back then as a first-generation metro rail of sorts. Estimates say the deal could be valued at anywhere between 600 to 700 crore rupees, with the acquisition itself poised to include a Tamil Nadu government takeover of all Indian Railways assets including tracks, bridges, signalling, electrification, land and buildings. This is being done to ensure that the operation as well as the maintenance of the MRTS services is now vested in the hands of the rapidly developing and expanding Chennai Metro Rail. This also makes it the first ever takeover of railways assets for the purpose of operations by a metro rail project. Earlier today, I got out to give you a perspective of what exactly the MRTS is and why the Tamil Nadu government is interested in these assets for the Chennai Metro Rail. Take a look. I'm standing by what was for the longest time and still remains India's first fully elevated suburban rail network. Conceptualized back in the 1980s, with construction having completed in 1995, the Chennai Mass Rapid Transit System, or the Chennai MRTS, was for the longest time the lifeline of the city's commuters, enabling them to get to one location from another in the shortest time possible, whizzing across the city's rush hour traffic, taking these commuters to their office places and back in the shortest time possible. Incidentally, it is this transit line that is today at the cusp of a change, even as a change in guard from the Indian Railways to the Tamil Nadu government is in the works. Reports suggest that the Tamil Nadu government is all set to buy out the Indian Railways' 33% stake in the Chennai MRTS for an estimated valuation of 600 to 700 crore rupees, even as these assets, including signalling, rails, rakes, buildings and other infrastructure, is all set to be transferred to the Chennai Metro Rail, which has become the modern face of mass rapid transit in Chennai. Essentially, the trains and tracks will remain the same, but the operation and maintenance of this transit line will now be transferred to the Chennai Metro Rail, which, remember, is fast developing and expanding, thereby becoming Chennai's primary mass rapid transit system of today. So the historic 30-year-old Chennai MRTS is all set to wear a new face, this time around one that is proudly worn by the city's Metro Rail. Right then, exciting days for public transport here in Chennai. Moving on, day one of Telangana's investment summit, the Telangana Rising Global Summit that is, saw proposed investments totaling to 1.8 lakh crore rupees announced by the government. A majority of these proposals came from Trump Media and Technology Group, which announced a whopping 1 lakh crore rupees in investments over the next 10 years. While a percentage of this will go into setting up a media and technology hub in Hyderabad, the bulk of these investments are aimed at the state's ambitious Bharat Future City project. Incidentally, the announcement also comes at a time when the Telangana government has proposed to name a road in Hyderabad in honor of US President Donald Trump. Meanwhile, the parent company of Vietnamese EV major VinFast, that's Vingroup, has also announced an equally impressive $3 billion investment in phase towards developing what it calls a multi-sector ecosystem in Telangana. The group has committed to investments in electric mobility, urban development, social infrastructure, tourism, and renewable energy. Well, exciting times then for investments in Telangana. Incidentally, the Telangana Investment Summit has also served as the perfect forum for twin Congress governments in South India. That's the government of Telangana and the government of Karnataka to put out a show of unity and synergy. Speaking at the event was Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar, who declared that Hyderabad and Bengaluru were not competing with each other, but competing with the rest of the world. The Deputy CM of Karnataka acknowledged that Telangana was competing globally while praising South India's human resource development, saying that India's story is the story of Bengaluru and Hyderabad together.
On the 2 years mark of this government, Telangana government is moving ahead. I thought that Telangana is competing with Bangalore and Karnataka. I could see that Telangana is not competing with Bangalore. It is competing globally on an international market. Congratulations to Telangana government for this great venture. I think I was told by Bhatti, I was just discussing with Bhatti and Sridhar Babu. After this event, I think a lot of discussions is happening. And tomorrow evening, you are coming out with a document. How this new city is this? How the 2047 is going to grow up? All this discussion, and I think you are coming out with a great document, I was told. I always tell one thing. I was looking for my Chief Minister. First, I would like to congratulate you for completing 2 years. So I'm here to come here to help my friend, to stand with him, still stronger than earlier.
Moving on from Hyderabad to Kerala now, phase 1 of local body elections began today in the state with 7 districts. That's Thiruvananthapuram, Kollam, Pathanamthitta, Alappuzha, Kottayam, Idukki and Ernakulam going to the polls today. A total of 1.32 crore voters cast their votes for a whopping 36,620 candidates contesting for 11,167 wards in 595 local bodies across these districts. Remember, Kerala is seeing nearly back-to-back elections over the next few months, including this one and the soon-to-be conducted assembly elections early next year. On to Puducherry now. Actor-turned-politician Vijay made his first public appearance since September 27th when a deadly stampede at one of his roadshows in Tamil Nadu's Crore killed 41 people. The A-lister from Collywood was campaigning today in the Union Territory of Puducherry and lashed out at the Tamil Nadu government. Interestingly, Vijay lavished praise on Puducherry Chief Minister N. Rangaswamy, hailing the All India NR Congress chief and the CM for providing his rally with adequate security. The rally in Puducherry took place today after multiple interventions by the local police towards ensuring safety, with recommendations on planning and conduct of the rally itself. Moving to the entertainment space now, amid reports of OTTs dialing back on budgets for South Indian content, JioHotstar is choosing to do just the opposite. The OTT platform has announced a 4,000 crore rupee investment plan for South Indian titles over the next 5 years. The platform also unveiled the first of those 25 titles today, with the management telling ET Now in an exclusive that South Indian content has found its way to almost every device with a JioHotstar app across the country. Early today, I caught up with JioStar's Sushant Sriram and Krishnan Kuti for their exclusive chat. Here's a slice from that conversation.
I think we are really excited. I think as Sushant said, the response we've been seeing over the last 10 months has been truly spectacular. And I think what we have is a real width of titles. So we have A-listers like Vijay Sethupathi, Nivin Pauly, and great directors like Mithun Manuel Thomas, Jeetu Joseph on the platform. But I think that is just the cream on the cake. We just have a whole series of great content from young creators. We have been doubling down on a format on OTT called long running series, which are 100 episode shows where we've been seeing fantastic responses. So we have been doubling down. We had an extremely successful show called Heartbeat. We're announcing a new season over there. And beyond that, we want to double down on non-scripted too. So that's going to be another initiative we're going to be. So we want to operate across a width of content, and we want to make JioHotstar a platform where consumers can land up every day and watch great new content.
Right, absolutely. So you want to double down, triple down, and really look at the width of content that's available. So 25 titles for the moment, I'm given to understand, Sushant. But what's the overall picture looking like? How many more will you be launching in which period?
Oh, it's mini because it actually starts with how we're looking at serving the Indian consumer, and it became evident to us very early on that if we really had to be, as Krishnan pointed out, a destination for entertainment for every Indian family every day, we really had to focus on a significant breadth of entertainment. So on the platform today, not only do we have live sports and cricket, and these are really popular, we have a massive catalog of entertainment as well. In fact, the total catalog of entertainment on JioHotstar is actually 10x that of the next biggest, OTT platform. Right? And it's not just about the scale; it's actually about the diversity. Right? We have TV shows, we have long-running formats, we have short series, we have movies, we have a phenomenal slate of Hollywood entertainment. We have live events. So it's really a focus on not just achieving a scale of, how many can we offer, but are we truly distinctly serving everybody in the family? Right. And that's really heartening for us. And we've seen that play out in how consumers have adopted, families have adopted viewing entertainment on JioHotstar as a group, as a family. We're seeing that in the kind of CTV adoption, connected TV adoption that we are seeing in the business. So these are all great signs, and it just only makes us want to go harder and go faster.
Absolutely. So what are the numbers that we're looking at right now, Krishnan? I know for a fact that there's a massive audience here in the South when it comes to JioHotstar. What are those platform numbers shaping up to be like, and why does that excite you in terms of doubling down, if not tripling down, on the kind of offerings in this market?
Jude, I think the response we've been seeing in this market is absolutely spectacular. Our video viewers, our reach has actually grown by around 70% over the last 10 months. Our watch time on our platform has grown by more than doubled. It's actually grown by 170%. So these are incredibly encouraging signs. But I think beyond the numbers, I think the depth and the relationship which our consumers in the South which have with us is something which is really exciting. I think it's apparent consumers love watching content, and they're watching 50% more genres than anybody else. Every month, a South Indian consumer, if on JioHotstar, watches 20 titles. So that all these signals are incredibly encouraging, and I think what it makes is a responsibility for us. The appetite is there. Can we scale up fast enough to whet that appetite?
Absolutely. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Krishnan, I also was picking up on a statistic which said that apparently 99.86% of your existing devices across the companies also stream South Indian content. So clearly it's not just people in the South who are watching it.
So this is Sushant's favorite stat. I think he and his team, kind of map out which areas in the country watch content. And he's identified 8 pin codes in the.
I do want to provide a factual correction. It's not 99.86. It's actually 99.96. Okay. Just for the record.
So he said there are 8 pin codes in the country which don't watch, and we are working together to solve for those 8 pin codes too. But I think it really shows the power of storytelling and how great stories travel everywhere. And I think a story can be born in Madurai and can travel to Meerut. And that really is the power of great storytelling.
Absolutely. Madurai to Meerut. I love how it alliterates as well. But, I have to ask you, at while you set aside these 4,000 crore rupees to invest itself, the fact remains that a state like Kerala and the Malayalam film industry is seeing a whole lot of its content consumed by, consumers outside, like Krishnan was just mentioning. How much of an edge do you feel, Sushant, this provides content creators and platforms for focusing on the South market? That's certainly the case with JioHotstar as well in terms of the content being consumed from outside state boundaries. But do you feel this gives you a whole lot more agility in terms of doing a lot more here, given that relevance continues outside the region itself?
And that's actually part of our big promise to storytellers and creators. Definitely, from the South, but across the country as well, which is we have truly democratized access to content at scale. Right? We're talking about 400 million Indians visiting JioHotstar every month. So you're talking about, everybody from across the length and breadth of the country watching all of these great stories. And what that means for a creator is truly unmatched reach and engagement. So, you took the example of Malayalam. It's a classic example of how great stories are coming in from one part of the country and they travel really, really far and wide. In fact, 80% of Malayalam content consumption on our platform actually happens outside of Kerala. Now that is significant, and similar trends hold from across languages. So it's actually our promise and our responsibility and the opportunity that we see with how we can partner and collaborate with creators and writers and producers to actually make sure that their stories reach every relevant audience. And, 10 months in, you've seen some phenomenal track record. And we can't wait to unveil not just these 25 titles, but really serve as the clarion call for creators across the region to actually reach out to us, engage in a conversation, because this is just the beginning.
Right, absolutely. And Krishnan, even as we speak about South Indian content and all that it holds in terms of promise and everything that lies ahead, we have also been picking up reports that a lot of OTT players are actually dialing down on acquisition budgets when it comes to going about acquiring southern titles, owing to reports of overinflated quotations or producers actually overinflating film budgets in the first place. As someone who's been actively engaged in title acquisitions and helping more content reach the platform, let me ask you, is this actually the case? And if yes, is JioHotstar also actively looking at a right sizing or a reality check of sorts when it comes to setting aside budgets for this market?
I think we have been pretty consistently responsible in terms of the way we spend money. And, I think Sushant and me collaborate very carefully to ensure that we are investing the right values for behind our stories. So I don't know the factual correctness of whether our competitors are making some choices. But I think if anything which makes the ecosystem more return on investment friendly is great for the entire ecosystem. If your platforms are making more money, they have an ability to invest, they have an ability to invest in a diversity of content, a width of content. And I think, being fiscally responsible, because we want this business to survive and go for the next 10, 15, 20 years.
Right.
And, building an economic model which is sustainable, I think, is really the need of the hour.
So no concerns with regard to the asks and quotations that producers offer you at this point in time at least?
No, we're not concerned, because if we can't afford it, we say no. So there are no concerns.
As simple as it gets then.
Yeah.
So speaking of money itself, Sushant, 4,000 crore rupees is what you announced over the next 5-year window. Where does this money go? What are you prioritizing in terms of deployment, and where will these investment essentially be pumped into?
In fact, the capital deployment that you mentioned has actually already begun. So it's not something in the future. We are well and truly within, the deployment phase of this. To your question, this is actually across the success that we have seen, whether it's in formats, whether it's across, obviously this is an investment across the 4 South Indian languages. But truly, the idea is there are some areas that we have found great success in. For example, how do we create a habit feeling and a habit experience for consumers on JioHotstar? So formats like long-running series have proven to be extremely successful. Heartbeat is a classic example. In fact, Heartbeat this year has crossed 100 million hours of consumption. Now, I can't think of many shows at the pan-India level that would have achieved that. And that, to me, more than that number, it's just the habit that shows like that are helping build a connective relationship that consumers have with JioHotstar. Beyond that, there are formats like unscripted formats. Obviously, there is Big Boss, which is the big daddy of unscripted formats, and it's had a phenomenal run across South languages this year. But even beyond that, we're actually very, very actively looking at how we expand our slate of unscripted reality format and entertainment. So that's going to be another focus area for us. Obviously, we'll continue to invest behind, what makes sense for us as movies and, short series, etc. But this is really the full platter.
Absolutely. And let me ask you, Krishan, before we end, unscripted is certainly a focus area for you, given that Big Boss, like Sushant was saying, was the big daddy or is the big daddy of entertainment as far as these parts go. Where else are you looking? What do South Indian viewers enjoy, and what more of that can they expect from JioHotstar?
Within the unscripted space or across?
Across.
I think what we are looking at is we are very excited by is what new the creators are going to come up with. And I think that immense possibility over there is what excites us. So right now we have plans, but what this event is really is an invitation to creators saying we are open for business, we are excited to hear your ideas, and the bigger the idea is, the more exciting the idea is, the more disruptive the idea, the more excited we are. And I think, I'm excited to see what's coming next as much as everybody else.
On to news from the aviation and defense space now. Defense major Tata Advanced Systems has announced the start of a maintenance, repair and overhaul or MRO facility in Bengaluru. The facility in question, the company says, will be used to support Lockheed Martin's heavy lift military transport aircraft, the C-130 Super Hercules. The company broke new ground in Bengaluru to set up the facility, even as both Tata Advanced Systems and Lockheed Martin are partnering to pitch the C-130 as the ideal machine to win a mega deal to supply 80 of these heavy lift aircraft to the Indian Air Force. And keeping with Karnataka, the state, it seems, is dealing with a unique problem, and that's a significant decline in the sale of beer this fiscal. Speaking to the Assembly, Excise Minister R.B. Timapur said that there was a 19.55% drop in beer sales for FY26. The minister added that just 195.27 lakh crates of beer were sold till the end of September, and that was 47.5 lakh crates fewer compared to the same period last year. Incidentally, the minister blamed the weather for the sudden drop in beer sales this fiscal, even as Karnataka finds itself in the throes of a cold wave, colder than most other years. Well, let's hope then that an early summer next year causes some spike in those numbers and Bengaluru is back to its beer guzzling ways. On that note, we'll have to wrap up this episode of South Central. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow for more news and updates from the 5 southern states. For the moment, it's goodbye from us.